All right, going live in three, two, one. Well, this is the Working Title Experience, episode number 20. And today I have on a gamer. This is probably one of the first that I've had on the show, which is really cool because most of the time the people I have on are not actually gamers. So I'm having to explain video games to them. Her name is Olivia Seer. Seer,
Hi.
excuse me. Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm pretty good. Did I pronounce your name correctly? Seer, right?
Yes, you got it.
Cool, cool. So you're a gamer, is that and
Yes.
now this is really cool. Like I said, we usually don't have gamers on the channel, which is kind of ironic, and since this
I
is
know. I'm surprised.
a gaming channel. But some of the people who have played games, they understand games. I'm usually the one having to have to explain how the games work.
Yeah.
So
Right.
okay, you're tell me, you like games? Is this something that you've been doing for a while?
Yeah. I've been doing it since pretty much high school. I mean, I've been playing games since I was a little kid. Um, I honestly don't consider myself a gamer like that much. Like, I don't know. I just feel silly to say gamer, but I've been, yeah, playing since like the early Nintendo days. My aunt lived with us and she had an old school Nintendo and she was like always played that. We always had PlayStation. Grew up on PlayStation 2. And so I just went from there. Like I knew a bunch of people who were gamers and had the PC builds and all that. So I basically learned from that and just playing Doom, and I played The Witcher, and started off with Call of Duty, which I still suck at, but yeah, so I just like enjoy it. I don't know. I don't really take it too seriously. But yeah, it's just always been a passion of mine.
Yeah, so Call of Duty, since you brought that up, I've only played that once. Do you
Really?
is that something you play on a regular basis?
Oh God, no, I cannot play Call of Duty. Like I can't. I've tried so many times to get into it and I just don't like it. Like I'm not that I'm like bad at it. It's not even that. It's just like I don't have any like interest in it.
I bought the last one. The version I bought was I can't remember what the name of the title was. There's one or two videos on my channel. It came out in 2007. I
Yeah.
got through part of it, and I just couldn't get through the rest of it. So no insults to people who like the game, but I will say this: it made me realize when in a real war, I know it's not really a real war, but in a
Yeah.
real war, it's really hard to figure out who the bad guy is in some situations. So I was like, I didn't know who I was
Yeah.
shooting at. If I was supposed to be shooting at
Right.
someone.
That's my same problem too. I'm like, who am I shooting at? Like, I don't know. It's just weird. I don't like it.
So you're in Florida right now, is that right?
Yes. Yes, I
So
am.
why are you in Florida? What's that about?
Well, I grew up in New Hampshire, Manchester, New Hampshire, and I moved around a lot there with my mom. My mom was a single parent and was just kind of like getting old. Like it's kind of like that cliche, like you get tired of your small town. And all my best friend still lives there, and all my friends still live there. And I was just kind of like, I don't know, like I want to travel, and I want to travel more. Like I don't see myself staying in like the same spot. So I was just like, I have family in Florida. I have connections in Florida. I'm just going to go. And I just did it with my best friend. We drove down here by ourselves. And she doesn't live here, but she came down with me. And yeah, I just kind of restarted everything.
Wow. So, I mean, but you're going to school though, right? You're a student, is that right?
Yes. Yeah, I
Okay.
took this semester off because I was working full time. So it was just like a lot right now. But yeah, I'm still in school.
Now you don't have a New England accent, the typical New England accent. Are you disguising that?
I don't know. The only New England accent I can think of is like Massachusetts. My dad's from Massachusetts, but I never had an accent. I lived there when I was a little kid, but I never had an accent. Some people say there's like a New Hampshire accent, which is funny because I don't know what that would be.
Oh, okay, okay, maybe that's something in the Boston accent. I used to listen to a
Yeah,
couple of
I
guys
think
on.
that's what people are thinking about.
They'd say that the two. I listened to two guys on the radio, and they say Boston. I can't even say it. Boston.
Boston. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's so funny.
So now, do you miss New Hampshire, or do you want to go back?
I do, yeah. I've been talking about it a lot with my family. I really want to live in Maine. Like Maine would be my next spot to live. I my mom grew up in Maine. She was born in Maine, and I've just always loved Maine and the just the aesthetic of it and stuff. So that's kind of where I want to be next. Hopefully by the end of this year, but I'm not sure with everything going on and stuff.
That's got to be a pretty drastic change, though, I guess. So jumping back to your Florida, you were living in Florida. I mean, you
Yeah.
have the humidity, the heat. I mean, it's
Oh
got to be
my God.
nothing like New Hampshire, right?
No, New Hampshire is like it's a bit of everything, so it'll be really hot and humid, and then it'll be like 50 degrees and like cold and raining and windy. Here it's like the summer is just brutal. It's like constant heat and humidity, 90 degrees. Even at night, it's like 85. It sucks in the summer. But yeah, that's what I miss about New Hampshire was there's no change of season down here. Up there, it's like you get everything. But I don't miss snow or
I
anything
was
like
gonna say,
that.
I was gonna say the snow has got to be pretty bad up there.
Oh my
I
God, I
assume.
don't miss it at all. Like, I never had a car that could drive in the snow, so it was just like hell every winter driving to
the
work.
I can relate to the summer because actually the DC area it actually gets about the same. So
Yeah.
it's
Oh yeah,
it
you're in
it
DC, yeah.
so it has the humidity is very, yeah, like you say, it just feels sticky and icky, and even at
Yeah.
nighttime, it's in the middle of summer, it's still like 80 degrees, and I have to keep the
Yeah.
air conditioning on all night long. So
Yeah, it's
uh,
expensive. It's terrible.
no, no, the one thing I heard about Florida, this is going off topic a little bit.
Mhm.
It's always terrified me. I saw a special several years ago that talked about the sinkholes. I don't
Oh yeah.
that sinkholes they're everywhere in the world, but for Florida is is there's more of a likelihood of sinkholes developing in Florida than anywhere else in the country, and
Yeah.
that's always scared me. If I were to own a home, I would not want to own a home in Florida with that. I mean,
Yeah, yeah, no. Like you don't like I didn't realize how prominent it was here and how scary like your whole house can go like in the ground. Like that's how bad they are in some places. It's possible where I am, but there's areas around where I live, it's like really bad. Like people have lost their homes or they're just driving and like the road just like caves in the middle of the road. It's like it's bad.
as far as as far as the change, are you making other changes in your life right now? As far as like with this move, did that affect you in any way?
Yeah, I don't know. I learned a lot about myself and like being away from my family, honestly, I think was like, cause like all my family, they're in New Hampshire. So I think that was like the best thing for me and us, like, cause I had a lot of personal family issues going on when I left, and just like a bunch of stuff that I went through. And it actually was like kind of therapeutic to leave and like be apart from all of that. And I learned a lot like about myself and how independent I actually could be. Because I've always been pretty independent since I was a little kid, but like actually, there's a difference between like, living at home and being independent, and then like actually leaving home and like being by yourself and having to like take care of yourself, and like get your own groceries and find your own job and stay with that and take care of your own car. Um, I guess that's what a lot of people my age go through. I'm in my early 20s, so yeah, navigating all of that was like, and I'm still like in the middle of navigating it all. Um, so just like going through that is like really like eye-opening for me.
Yeah, I can relate. I started living on my own when I was 19. So
Yeah.
my dad said it was time to get out, just leave. He
Wow.
told me to
Yeah.
kick me out essentially. So
Yeah.
a- and it was most I would have to say one of the most difficult years. First year, that whole year was my most difficult year, but
It
eventually
is.
it's just really hard. So I know what you're going through. I can partially relate to what you're going through, I should say. So
Yeah. And they don't really tell you like in your 20s how difficult it actually is, like mentally and just like everything. Like, and even in school, like they're like, oh, you got to go to college and all that. And it's like, there's a lot more to that than just going to college. Like, there's a lot of stuff. I mean, essentially, no one can teach you. You just have to go through on your own.
Now, as far as the college, I mean, you said you don't consider yourself a gamer, but you're essentially addicted to gaming, though. Am I right, or is it not
Yeah,
that strong?
no,
It
you
is.
can call me whatever you want, like gamer or whatever. It just feels like weird sometimes, like when people are like, "Oh, you're a gamer." I don't know.
Oh, people call me a gamer. I guess you're right because I don't consider myself a gamer and as such because I did it for as a hobby, so
Yeah,
it just kind of caught on. I wasn't sure how you related that. Now you do have a
right.
Twitch channel,
Mhm.
and I looked you up. Now I can't. I have to find the link again. But it said you were one of the most. I'm not trying to be rude or anything, but your channel doesn't seem to have a lot of followers right now. It's still
Yeah,
growing, right? So,
right. Yep.
but the one of the I found this website with your name on it, and it said you're one of the most fastest growing Doom players on the internet right now, or
Really?
over. Yeah. I'll see if I can find that while we're talking here.
I
And
don't think that's me.
and
That'd be cool though.
Doom is now I've never played Doom, but
Mhm.
I have played a version of a game called Duke Nukem 3D that
Yeah,
I
I
don't
have
know if you
no
ever
idea
heard of
what
that.
that is.
It's a game that was very similar to the original Doom. In fact, it was so similar that the from the 1990s that you could take the files from Doom and actually insert them into Duke Nukem 3D because the games were designed so similarly.
Yeah.
They were made by different developers though, but I guess they copied the programming or the platform. I don't know.
Wow.
So I kind of understand what Doom is like because I've seen people play the older version that is,
Yeah.
and it's similar. The two games are similar. I tried to play the newer version of Duke Nukem 3D, which came out about 9 years ago, and I never finished it. But so Doom is what is your favorite game? I guess let's start there. Is that
Oh
your
God.
favorite?
Honestly, the BioShock series is my has been my favorite forever. Um, yeah, and I've also played. Oh, there's so many. I don't know. I guess the BioShock I always say is usually my favorite game series. BioShock Infinite was my favorite for a while, and now like Doom is pretty up there. I just started playing it this year. I played it growing up, but like I never like finished it. And like through high school, I played it, but like since now I'm like in my 20s, I haven't like seriously played it, and so yeah, I've been kind of dedicating myself to that. But yeah, I would say BioShock is definitely my favorite,
BioShock.
probably one of my
I
favorites.
recently purchased that, but I haven't had a chance to play it. The was it? I think there's BioShock, and then there's a sequel, right? I'm not sure.
Yep,
Uh,
there's BioShock and then BioShock 2 and then or BioShock Infinite as well.
okay,
And then
I think
Rapture.
okay. I don't have the newer ones. The
Mhm.
GOG, which is I don't know if you're familiar with that. GOG.com. You can buy games, older games. They call it good. It stands for Good Old Games, and you can
I
buy
haven't
them.
heard of that.
You can buy video games there, and you don't need to have like the disc. You don't need to have like a. You don't have to be logged in to play the games. You
Yeah.
can just buy them, download them, and you can play them. So
Yeah.
usually, as the name implies, old games, good old games. So
Gotcha.
I don't go there on a regular basis, but it's completely legal. It's not like you're downloading something illegal or anything like
Yeah.
that. But that I installed them. I haven't had a chance to play them, but that's it looks interesting to me. So
Yeah.
um, now as far as the what is the thing that you really find interesting about gaming, I guess, as a whole?
I just really like the community it brings, like especially being on Twitch, like it's mostly my friends, like we stream together and stuff and like just like connecting with like people and like I've been on Twitch since January and I've made so many like online friends just from doing that. So it really gives you a connection with people and just like the community even on like YouTube and stuff. Like I grew up watching Rooster Teeth and more recently Funhouse and I don't even know if they're still around now. But just like those channels and gaming channels, certain people who've been relevant in the gaming community, I've watched a lot, and I just love like the community it brings and just doing it and just like the stories of games they can bring and like games can make you really emotional like too, and I just love that.
No, which the one that you're on your Twitch channel when I went there was Doom.
Hmm.
Do you have any other games that you're playing right now or streaming?
I'm streaming The Witcher 3 right now. It'll be my third
Ah,
playthrough with it. I'm trying to like do all the side quests and stuff because the first time I went through it, I kind of was just like going through the main storyline, and it's kind of impossible to like do both like on that. You have to do one or the other because there's so many like side quests and like little trials you do in the game. So I'm just trying to like focus on like the little things in that and play it a little bit differently because you can play it differently pretty much each time. So I think that would just be fun for people to watch.
there's a question in the chat, but it's not really a question for us directly. It's basically, am I reading the chat? Yes, I am reading through the chat. So, and anybody who has a question, feel free to ask. We'll answer them. So, um, I have not seen anything that's really relevant to what's going on, to what we're talking about. That's why I didn't actually go there yet. So, I do. I just like the other game. Which I also have The Witcher 3. It was actually something I
Yeah.
got for free, but I never got I never got around to playing it. So it's
Such a
one
good game.
the I got it because it was a video. It came free with a video card that I installed on my computer. It was like this
Yeah.
free download link, and so I said, okay, I download it. I
That's
never got it.
cool.
Never
Yeah.
got a chance to play it. So I assume based on what the fact you're on your third playthrough, is that what you said?
Yes.
Yeah, it would probably be. I assume you would recommend it at this point.
Yes, I do. The story is just so awesome and the gameplay is really immersive and there's a lot of dialogue which if you don't like I wouldn't recommend it to people who like want to sit through and watch a bunch of cutscenes and like learn all like it's just a lot of cutscenes which I found in the third playthrough is kind of like all right, I've already seen all this, like I can skip through that. But if you're into that, totally the game for you. If not, I wouldn't recommend it.
Yeah, the that's the problem I have, and there is a question on there asking me what kind of PC do I have at the moment. Well, I have two. I'm actually using a Windows 10 computer I built a couple of years ago, and I have an old Windows 7 computer that I use for some of my older games, which because they don't work well on the Windows 10 computer, so I'm alternating back and forth. So to answer that question, but getting back to what you said, the
Mhm.
as far as the cutscenes, that's something that kind of deters me from some of the games. I prefer just
Yeah.
playing the game a
Right.
lot. I don't
Yeah.
know how you feel, but there's like it feels to me like sometimes these developers make games so that it's like you're watching a movie of sorts, and you could
Right.
almost like you're like an interactive movie, and you're just there, just playing the going through the motions of sorts.
Yeah.
Do you how do you feel about that?
I think it depends on the game really like for some like gameplay it works like in The Last of Us. I think it works great. Like I don't think it's too heavy-handed with the cutscenes, but the series is so like big and so like about the story. Like the whole game is basically the heart of the game is the story. So I think that works. The Witcher 3 can go, like I said, it could go either way. If you don't like that, don't bother. If you do, you'll love it. Um, yeah, I think it just depends on the game. If it's works for the, if it's immersive and it's fun and it works with the story, then yeah.
Now, you brought up The Last of Us. So have you played that? I've
Yes.
heard both parts, I should say.
I started part 2, haven't really gotten through it just cuz it's a lot. Like that's an example of the game like to me that makes me so emotional just like it's so like it feels so real that game. Like I don't know how they do it. Like the story is just so good. Like everything about it I love. So
The
it's just a struggle to get through it.
yeah, the first I watched the first one. I didn't play it because but I did watch people do a playthrough. I watched it probably twice. So
Yeah.
but I don't remember. I remember the basic story, so I don't remember all the exact details. So I'm sure you know it better than I do. But I do remember watching it. Like I said before, it came across like a movie, so I was just, well, I don't feel like
Yeah.
buying the game. I just watched other people play it, and I just watched it
Right.
like it was a movie essentially. So
Yeah. You can
and
yeah. A lot of people have like the compilations of the cutscenes, like they made it into like a mini movie on YouTube, which I think is cool. Um I like both of it. Like I like watching people play video games a lot, obviously. And especially that game, I watched like The Last of Us Part 2. I watched people play it before I started playing it. just because I like to spoil things for myself sometimes and like want to know what's gonna happen in the game. um, but yeah, yeah, if you watch it, definitely feels like a movie for sure.
Now, how do you feel since we brought that up? I enjoyed watching the first one. I thought it was pretty decent. I do admit that the I know that they're technically not zombies, but the zombie like s characters that they
Hmm.
had to battle, to me that kind of diminished the story a little for me.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
So I kind of wish they hadn't put that in there, but it was still very enjoyable. I enjoyed it a lot. As far as the second movie, or second, I'm calling it a movie now, as the second game goes, there was a big controversy as far as people liking the
Yes.
story. How did you feel? I mean, I personally, I couldn't sit through it, not because I didn't necessarily not like the game,
Yeah.
but I just didn't keep my interest. So when I was watching people, I can only get to sit through like maybe I sat through like the first maybe 10, 20 minutes, and I just stopped watching because it just couldn't hold my interest like the first one. How do you feel about that the controversy? I will give away now. Obviously, we're going to talk about the game, so anybody who hasn't seen it, there'll be a lot of
Yeah, a
spoilers in this.
lot of
So
spoilers. um, yeah, at first when I started, like I didn't even play the game. I just saw like the trailer, and then when the game came out, I just watched people start playing it, and I was like, this is ridiculous. I was like, this is so stupid. Like, why would they do that? Why would they have that happen? And then I like watched it more and like rewatched it, and I was like, and as like the people like played through the game, I was like, it's kind of brilliant what they did there. Like, they kind of made you hate it, and then, but also like people who are diehard fans of the series, like you hated it, but like you wanted to see what would happen next, and it was just like brutal each time, but it was like it was all for a reason. And I think that was really cool what they did with that. Like they made you go on like the good side and the bad side, and then maybe the good side's bad and the bad side's good. Like it really like was really cool that they did that, I think, in the end.
so overall, you actually essentially you disliked it, but then it eventually grew on you, is what you're saying?
Yeah. Yeah, once I realized what they were like trying to accomplish, I guess, with the game, I liked it. I thought it was cool.
The Now, did you play it through yourself?
Um, no, I haven't finished the second part, but like I said, I watched like the playthroughs and
Okay, I
stuff
wasn't
like
sure.
that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're like at this point for that, you're like I am. You're just watching the other people do it. Did you
Right.
watch it all
Yeah.
to the very end? Did you complete the entire
Yeah.
viewing?
I watched yeah to the very end. It was very
Okay.
very I cried.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, that's pretty good. That they really
Yeah.
got to you. I mean, yeah. So,
Yes.
um, now I got to ask. I'm sure this is most people are going to ask this as well. How did you feel about what they did to Joel in the story?
Obviously, it was very like horrible and terrible to watch happen, and but at the same time, like I said, like the game they make you see like from Abby's perspective why she did it, which I take that back because I think the reason why she did it I think was like kind of stupid because he killed all those people and I think her father, and but it was to save Ellie, and it was just like all this stuff that I didn't agree with, and yeah. But so I think it had to happen in that way because otherwise the game, like the aspect of like Ellie like going after Abby and all that, like that wouldn't have happened. So I guess it did have to happen in a way, but yeah, it was shocking, definitely.
Who was the character? I can't remember the name of the character. That Abby was the one that killed. It was basically
Yes.
like okay.
Yeah,
I,
she was
and
after him.
the only problem I had with her was that physically she was drawn too masculine or looked too
Yes.
masculine. That was kind of a turn off because that's like I think you should when you have a female character you should enhance the female qualities of a women have certain characteristics that men don't have and vice versa. And it seemed like they made her too masculine for me. I know I it just didn't look natural to me. It's look for a lot of people I automatically assumed it was transgender at first, and it wasn't obviously, but it just
Yeah.
I thought they could it's just my opinion that maybe they should have kept her more feminine looking, I guess. I don't know how you felt about that. but it's just it that was one of the things that kind of turned me off. It was just looking at that, and I know a lot of people said something similar. How do you feel about that aspect of it?
That doesn't really bother me, honestly. I don't think, female characters, they have to look female all the time. You know what I mean? I think that's kind of like an old thing. But yeah, I do like find it funny. People were like, she's built like an ox or something. Like a lot of people said that, which I thought was funny because she is like, yeah, she's huge. But like, I don't think that's like a necessity in a game, like for a female character to look female or whatever, you know?
I got you. I guess for me, it's just I don't see women in the in the real world that look like that. So
Yeah.
except for like occasionally you see like a bodybuilder, a female bodybuilder, and then she'll have her body and she looks very because she's done her bodies up so much, and she looks very masculine in that way.
Yeah.
And
Right.
so to me it didn't look like a natural woman, I guess, for lack of a better word. I don't know what word I want to use. It just kind of turned me off a little for that aspect. So
Yeah.
but I mean the rest of it, it's just like I said, I just couldn't keep with the story, and I did watch people review it. I watched people who gave it a positive review. Watched people get a negative review, so I got to see segments of it. So I got to see the end of it. So I did get to the general idea of what the story was about, but for me, I
Yeah.
just couldn't sit through it. So I do find it interesting that that you it was so you how you had such a turnaround there that you actually got very emotional towards that. That was very interesting.
Yeah.
Do you now? I don't think they're planning another one, are they? I'm not sure. I'm not heard anything about any new ones.
Not that I know of, but they're planning a show. I think it's going to be on
Oh,
HBO.
that's right. That's right. That's what it
Yeah.
was. Yeah, I knew there was something else that they were playing. Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
which is cool. I'm actually excited to see that.
And yeah. So the I don't know, what is the show gonna go start with the beginning again? How's that? I don't know. How's it?
I haven't read into it, but I think so. Like they must. Like I don't think they wouldn't like start from the beginning.
Now, one of the things I find kind of interesting going back to the first game is other people say, well, they'll say, how do they have all this stuff and all this technology when they're living in a world where everything, where, I can't even
Yeah.
say the word, post-apocalyptic world. But one thing I always say to myself is like at the very beginning of the game, they were in Boston, and Boston had law. There was a government
Yeah.
there and everything. So it's like that people forget that at the very beginning of the game there was actually a city, that was still functioning
Yeah.
under martial law. I mean, yeah,
Well, right.
the vast majority of the game was post-apocalyptic. There was hardly anyone there. There was no major. I mean, there was sparse population here and there, but I mean, it seems like they forgot about that part of the game. I'm sure there would be other cities in this world as well that could have that. In the second game,
Yeah.
they even elaborated on that. They showed that people were slowly building back with small towns and cities. So
Right.
and
Well,
so
it started off. Go ahead.
no, I'm done. There's not much more I was going to say, but go ahead.
Yeah, I agree because it started off as like a modern day, like today. Like they had technology, they had cars, like so I don't see why it was so like well, I guess humanity fell and maybe that, set everything back. But yeah, I don't see why it's confusing to have like technology in the game like so advanced because there was technology. You know what I mean? It was modern day world when
Right.
everything
And,
happened.
and unless you have like the human population go completely, like almost virtually extinct, there's
Yeah.
always going to be people out there that remember how to do things.
Right,
So
exactly.
there's one of the examples I like is the Roman Empire when it fell, it
Mhm.
collapsed. It's they it, the I'm sorry, the Western Roman Empire when it collapsed, it was in disarray for 100 years, and people
Yeah.
were living, and eventually people came back and rebuilt. So I mean, things like that
Yeah.
happen, but it's people remember and they've rebuilt and they've come back and they're a lot stronger because they've learned how to survive and how to rebuild and everything. So
Exactly. Yeah.
the uh, the other aspect of the game, I guess, the story itself, it was the first one. It was very. I mean, the whole dynamic with Joel and Ellie, how they bonded, and they did. I thought they did that very well. The development of the two
Yes.
characters. At first, they didn't really seem to like each other. Then they grew on each other, and by the end, they were. You could tell it was a father daughter kind of relationship.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
um,
definitely.
how
That's
did go ahead. How did you feel
yeah,
about that?
that's the whole thing of the game is what people like bonded with it is their whole relationship. Like he lost his daughter, and she basically just like came into his life and then became his daughter. So I think it was inevitable for it to happen. But it's just a sweet thing, and like such a like terrible circumstance to be in, and like the apocalypse and stuff. Like it's just like I think it gave a lot of relief in the game, because the game, it can be brutal, just like the things that happen obviously, and they're an apocalypse with zombies. So I think it was just different that they did that like so nicely, and it was just like a sweet part of the game, I think.
I want to change the subject a little bit.
Mhm.
You're basically, so we talked about you have a Twitch channel. I have a link that in the description that people want to see it. What made you want to do streaming?
Um I I know a lot of people who were streaming a while, and I would watch kind of like the same thing with gaming. Like I would just watch people's streams like all the time. And what really got me into it was Jenna Marbles and her boyfriend. I watched them like on YouTube a lot, and they like are huge on Twitch, like huge on Twitch right now. And I was like, I just saw like their community and like their streams, and I was like, I want to like start something like this. Like I want to have a community like that. And it's just like a great way to like meet people and connect with people. And when it's like so hard as an adult right now to like find friends, like for some reason, like especially me moving down here and then COVID happening, like it's been rough to find like people to meet, and it's just such a different dynamic as an adult. So having a Twitch channel like really changed that for me. And obviously it was a boost because I had friends who are rising on their channels, like they're doing really well. So I just wanted to get in on that and, start my own community, I guess, with gaming especially.
So the as far as the friends, I mean, do you have you actually met friends that you consider to be close at this point?
I just started out, so not really, but like when it comes to Twitch and like going on every day and like just watching their streams, like yeah, I'm pretty close with people now.
Oh. Now the people to give it talk about being on YouTube, or not or Twitch or in general, whatever, any kind of gaming situation, I should
Hmm.
say. With my channel, I do it the old-fashioned way. I just play
Yeah.
a video game. I don't comment. I just upload the what I do. Very few. I maybe have one or two videos where I've actually talked while I'm actually playing the game, and in those cases, it's actually I'm not actually commenting while I'm playing the game. I actually made the commentary after I played the game, and I was just commenting after the game was actually completed, or the segment I made was
Yeah.
completed. So that's a little different than what you're doing.
Yeah.
The one thing I used to get people asking me to do live stuff, and I said, nah, I just don't feel like doing that. I just kept on doing it the old fashioned way. There's
Yeah.
a lot of older channels like mine that do that, and their popularity was kind of dying off a little bit, but also they don't upload as much as like I do. I'm still uploading on a regular basis. So
Yeah.
one of also I don't like I'm not too fond of showing my own face, primarily because I worked in radio. So my career is like, I got into radio not to show my face, just so people could hear my
Right,
voice.
exactly.
So
Yeah.
I'm not really too big on showing my face on there. Do you?
Yeah.
Yeah, is that something that was a problem for you, or did you just go with it? And, no, just it was great, or how did you feel about that?
Yeah, at first I was like, "Oh God, I gotta like show my face," but then like after I just like did it, like at first I didn't have a camera good enough, so I just like, because on Twitch you don't have to show your face. Like maybe you get more views that way, but I think, you don't really have to. You don't have to have an amazing setup or camera to be on Twitch. But I just wanted to get to that point just because I thought it just makes people more comfortable. I don't know. But yeah, so at first I was like, oh God, I don't like it's just like weird for me because I'm not used to that. Like, just kind of like bringing that attention to myself. But then I was just like, who cares? You know what? I just want to do it. So I got a PlayStation camera because I play on PlayStation. Um, so yeah, I've been doing that, and I'm fine with it now, you know. You get used to it. You learn how to work it and stuff. So,
Do you watch yourself when you're on your gameplay? Do you go back to see what like things you said or
yeah.
done?
Yeah, I do that. I've always done that. Just like, I don't know. It's just fun to watch yourself sometimes, like not in a way, like not in a selfish or narcissistic way. Just like, yeah, so I just want to see how I present myself. And sometimes I've noticed I look like really like either serious or really like emotionless in my face, which I'm trying to like fix. And a thing I'm struggling with on Twitch right now is I don't have a lot of viewers. Like I have probably an average of 7 viewers on like an average day on Twitch if I stream at night usually. So it's like I don't have a lot of commentary, which I'm trying to do because like my friend, he's like going up like in Twitch right now. He just hit 300 followers, and he's just like a talker and like whatever, like makes random noises and every like he's entertaining to watch. So I'm trying to make myself more like that, like more entertaining to watch. Cause sometimes like I'm just like I look really boring and I'm not really saying anything.
I got a story for you for that one. I used to be a teacher. I used to teach at a
Oh,
local
cool.
college, and there's a website called ratemyprofessor.com,
Oh,
and
I know this.
I went on there to see that what my students had said about me. One of my students said that I had a very monotone delivery. So
Oh God.
so
Yeah.
it's kind of like you were saying, like you're like you weren't sure about the emotions you were showing when you're doing your videos. I feel like, oh my goodness. But I will say this, it wasn't really an insult. He basically said that he enjoyed the class and he would recommend
Yeah.
anyone to taking it. But still,
That's
the
good.
fact he said I had a monotone delivery kind of like felt like, oh my goodness, I really am I that bad? So, but
Yeah.
the now as far as Twitch, now you want to are you trying to move over to YouTube as well?
um I'm dipping my toes into YouTube. I don't really know what my future with YouTube looks like. I mean, doing this and like, being like, I don't know, making content on YouTube like myself, I don't really see doing. Like I kind of want to do it for other people. Uh just cuz I don't know, I just don't want to manage my own channel and stuff like that. I don't think I'm at that mindset yet. But yeah, I definitely want to, be a part of it in some way, even if it's pretty minuscule. I don't want to like, be famous, YouTube famous or whatever. But yeah, it'd be cool to be a part of the community.
Now, would you like to do the same thing you do on Twitch, basically do live streaming? Because YouTube, obviously, they're trying to be in competition right now with a lot of
Yeah,
different platforms, different, like Twitch, obviously, TikTok, they're trying to compete against that now.
right.
As far as YouTube, would you like to do the same thing? Or would you like to do, because YouTube obviously is not just, obviously Twitch is more geared towards the live aspect.
Right.
But YouTube is not. But how would you feel about doing, what would you do on YouTube?
I don't know what I don't I guess I would kind of do stick with like the Twitch thing, like live streaming, even posting Twitch streams. I think what I would do is probably just post my Twitch streams on YouTube. I don't know how much audience I would get from that, but just trying it, I would be able open to. I don't really know what content I would be putting on YouTube at this point. I just haven't really like been my focus hasn't been on that really at all. My focus right now is just being on Twitch and stuff like that. But YouTube is definitely a possibility.
No, no, we talked about Doom and The Witcher. Well, I don't know what other games you've streamed. So I know you do Doom. What else have you streamed? Have you streamed anything else?
I streamed Little Nightmares, because that's big on Twitch right now. I've been trying to do stuff that gets me views pretty much right now. But no, I did enjoy Little Nightmares a lot. I did the first one. I haven't done the second one, which I plan to do. And then I did do a playthrough of Inside, which is kind of like a platform game, but it's like, have you heard of Limbo?
No, I think, is it a game? Is obvious or something else?
It's a game. Limbo, yeah. I
No.
think it's the same game developers that made that game, but it's basically kind of like a platformer. You go through like it's a puzzle game too, so it's like I don't know how to describe it. It's just like in this I guess post-apocalyptic world, and you're trying to escape from these weird guys that are trying to kill you, and it's just like you have to go through like all these puzzles and stuff and figure out how to escape. And That's all I can really describe it. It's very strange, but it's just like the whole aesthetic of it I really like about that game. And it's fun. The puzzles are fun.
Now, as far as the games you play, I'm not sure what Limbo looks like. Is that a first person game or?
It's first. No, it's not. I'm sorry. It's third person.
Oh, it is. Okay, so because
Hmm.
I know Doom is first person, I wasn't sure. Do you have a preference as to what kind of game you like to play when it comes to that, like first person, third person?
Yeah. Doom, I really like. Because I never liked first person shooters or anything. Like, I would play them, but I wasn't very strong in them. But Doom, I really like. That has not been a problem for me in first person. So, generally, I do prefer third person in games.
Okay. The I have tried to give an example. You talk about trying to lure in an audience that would or attract an audience, I should say,
Yeah.
that likes that would like something that's more modern. Most of the games on my channel are very would be considered more classic, more older.
Yeah.
The
Mhm.
so I tried when Red Dead Redemption 2 came out, I uploaded that, and I for some reason the views, and even my viewers have said the same thing. They don't understand why that gets hardly any views compared to the like the Grand Theft Auto stuff. Maybe because
Yeah.
my channel is so established as Grand Theft Auto right now.
Right.
They probably don't care about Red Dead Redemption 2, but they hardly, relatively speaking, they get very few views. So
Yeah.
my older Grand Theft Auto videos, or the I'm sorry, the Grand Theft Auto videos in general can fluctuate. I can get up, sometimes I can get up to like 100,000 or even a million views. I'm not sure why there's such a drastic difference. And then sometimes I get like
Right.
only 10,000 views. So, um, but yeah, the other games, if I upload anything else, they just sit there and just basically, get a little bit. So I know I kind of understand what you're talking about. You're trying to attract that audience, but
Yeah.
the popular games, maybe the market right now, or it's just too flooded. I guess too many people are doing the same game, and if you
Right.
don't,
Exactly.
if you have that niche, if you've already established yourself like I have, I guess there people only want to see that one kind of video. They don't want to see the other ones. So
Right.
uh, and you're still trying to get that. You're still trying to grab that and see what people want. So
Yeah.
that's the. Do you see yourself any other games right now as far as like that may in the future that you may be playing to try to bring in an audience?
Yeah. I don't. I've just kind of been doing like whatever I want pretty much on Twitch, which is kind of like the foundation I wanted to set, but definitely trying to get more of an audience. So yeah, so I think I want to play The Witcher 3. Right now I'm playing through, and Doom obviously, and I don't know right now what I want to play because honestly some games out right now on PlayStation I'm not really interested in, or I've tried to play it on Twitch and it just like I just wasn't vibing with it, or it just like wasn't fun to play on live stream. Um, so yeah, I'm just trying to figure out which ones I want to play, which I haven't really found any like because I'm trying to play newer games or even like older. I just don't know yet what I want to play, pretty
So,
much.
so a PlayStation. So is that the only platform you play on right now, or do you play on other
Yeah,
platforms?
just on PlayStation right now.
Okay, so then now, how do you feel about the? Now this was kind of recent about how PlayStation 3, you can't.
Hmm.
I don't think you can. Yeah, I don't think they support it at all anymore. Is that right? I like the older games that you can't download any new games to
Oh
PlayStation.
yeah, yeah. On
So
old PlayStation games, you can't. No.
so like I actually have a PlayStation 3, but I'm a PC gamer, but the reason I bought the
Yeah.
PlayStation 3 was because Grand Theft Auto San Andreas is the one that's most popular on my system. So I was eventually going to try to make games that were on different platforms just for
Right.
that reason. So I'm still learning how to play how to do it on a gaming console. So that's not my thing, but I do keep up with some of the news that's going on with that. How do you feel about that? I mean, as far as the older games, I've heard it's that some of these digital the ones that you can download,
Yeah.
that you won't be able to actually get those anymore. How do you feel about that?
I know. I don't. It doesn't really bother me like digitally downloading or buying it myself. Um, I don't know. I just some games they've like remastered to put on PS4, like older games. I can't think right now which ones they have, but I think Ratchet and Clank was what I grew up playing. They remastered. Well, they I think they changed the whole game and put it on PS4. Um, so yeah, it doesn't really. bother me that much. If I have to download it, that's fine. If, they still have games on the shelves, like I'll still buy them as long as I can play them.
No, but how about the games that are that you can't get anymore? So that's a thing that a
Okay.
lot of people are actually concerned with. Like there's a popular like,
Right.
one of the games that I have on my YouTube channel is called Driver San Francisco, and
Yeah.
you can't buy that anymore. It's not available anywhere. So fortunately,
That's crazy. Yeah.
I have the original disc version, and even though I have the disc, there's still and it still requires an internet connection to actually play the game.
Yeah.
And Ubisoft, or I forget how to pronounce the name, Ubisoft or Ubisoft. Anyway, they still allow me to. They haven't stopped me from playing the game. In fact, when I installed it, they actually said, "Do you want to download it directly from us?" Which was kind of strange,
Yeah.
considering that they won't sell it anymore. But because I actually have the original discs, they'll let me actually install it from their website directly, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
How do you feel about those games that you can't actually get anymore?
Yeah, it sucks. Honestly, it does. Yeah, like I don't I'm also pretty accepting of it because it is what it is and it's gonna change, but I don't understand why, because people still want to play those games. Like I still want to play those games. I don't see why they would totally get rid of them and not have them, more accessible on next gen consoles and stuff like that. I think, wouldn't that even make them more money? So I don't understand the business idea behind that or why.
Yeah, and another aspect of it is some of the older games that are popular, like say Grand Theft Auto San Andreas,
Right.
which is very easy to obtain still. The those games, the downloadable version of the game that's regulated by say Rockstar Games, they'll go through periodically and remove parts of the game that they don't want you to see anymore. So like if you
Wow.
but mainly for copyright reasons, such as like the music,
Okay.
like there's music in the. Have you played the game? I'm not sure how familiar you are with the game.
I haven't in a while, but I think I get what you're saying. Yeah.
There's in the game you can be when you're in a vehicle, you can turn on a radio station, you can hear the
Right.
music.
Yep.
They've removed like a large number of the songs from that, so you can't hear those songs anymore. So and that's basically because from what I understand, it's because they were only had like a 10-year limit as to how much long they could actually allow
Right.
this. But if you have the
Yeah.
older game, if you have the original game like I do, the original disc, you still have all the music there, so you have no problems. So
Right.
that kind of control kind of bothers me because
Yeah.
it's like I just want to play the game the way it was originally made, and now they're coming in and saying that you have to log in to play the game, and guess what? We're going to remove these parts of the game, even if it's just something that's not really affecting the gameplay. It's like, well, yeah, but that's still part of the game, and you're removing it. I don't want to,
Right.
I'm already, if I wanted to, all I could do is just get the disc, and I could still have all those properties. So what's the big deal? Why go in?
Exactly. Yeah.
Why go in and remove something that I can just get so easily anyway? So,
Yeah.
how do
Yeah.
you
I
feel
don't agree
about?
with that.
You don't agree with that? Okay. There's
Yeah.
other aspects too, as far as control. Like Ubisoft for a while was they would require a constant internet connection. Now this is for PC games. Now I'm not sure how it is for consoles. But they would require a constant internet connection just to play the game because they were so paranoid. From what I understand, they were so paranoid about piracy that they would, if you lost your internet connection, your game would just stop immediately. And do you have to go through something like that with gaming with consoles?
I'm trying
I
to
don't think you
think.
do.
I
I don't
don't
think that's a.
think so. I think if you I think on PS4 that's the case. I don't remember. I don't think it stops the game though. I think you do need internet connection on PS4, yes.
Well, but I mean a constant internet connection. So I mean, so like if it drops out, like your internet just drops out or your cable just drops out, whatever, you can't play the
Right.
game. You have to wait till your internet comes back up again before you can play the
Yeah,
game.
I believe so, yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. So yeah, that was a big complaint, and I think Ubisoft has gone back on that. So some of the newer games don't have that issue. So but yeah, that's also a problem. Most of the games I have are much older games anyway, so it's not too big of a deal.
Right.
One of the things I do have a gripe with is Red Dead Redemption 2 when it came out for the PC version was only a downloadable game. I could not purchase any discs. So That
Yeah.
was basically a long download, very long download because the game was huge.
Yeah. The game's huge.
Yeah. So, and tied up by tied by resources because I have other things I have to do on my computer, and it's like I have to constantly pause it and bring it back up again. But
Yeah.
that's when I bought Grand Theft Auto 5, I bought the disc version of the game, so I was able to install it when I needed. I didn't have to worry about my internet being bogged down.
Right.
So, and now as far as would you ever consider going on into other platforms besides play? You're on PlayStation, what I guess PlayStation 4, or what do
Yeah.
you? Okay,
Mhm.
the would
Ye-
you ever consider going into something else? Are there any other platforms?
Yeah, I definitely want to hop on the PC train. I just like I don't know, being on console just feels like it's that classic like nostalgia for me being on console. So I kind of haven't really geared towards getting a PC recently. But I definitely do want to, you know, get to that point. It's just money's tight, you know?
Yeah. the but I've got to be honest. When I was if are you familiar with the Driver games? I brought up Driver of San Francisco. Are you familiar with that series of games?
No, I'm not.
Okay, well the original one came out in 1999, and it came out on PlayStation and on PC. So I played the PC version. The second one came out on PC. I'm sorry, it did not come out on PC. It only came out on PlayStation, the original PlayStation, the very first one.
Yeah.
And so I actually bought a PlayStation just to play it. And I was so angered by the fact that it played so much worse than the original one, which I had on PC, because the
Yeah.
PlayStation was so much inferior to my PC. And
Right.
I was so angered by that for a long time. I was like, I will never buy a gaming console because this is
Yeah.
I was like, how dare they release a game on something that's so inferior? And
Right.
I couldn't control I couldn't change the controls around. I couldn't on a PC. You can change. You can use a controller. You can use a keyboard, wherever you want. And you can actually change what the buttons do. So, but on that, I
Yeah.
couldn't change anything. I was like, this is to me, it was like this was very aggravating. And so,
Yeah, that is crazy.
and eventually, like I said, I eventually bought some consoles, but just to play the other games. I still have this. Uh, I still like the PC part of it, primarily because I can build my own computers. I build them from scratch. So
Yeah.
the I know what I'm putting into them, so they usually can handle the stuff.
Right.
The one thing I do find funny about when it comes to like say PlayStations is people say, well, you should be able to play the game regardless, whereas PC you have so many different configurations that you have problems playing the game sometimes. And
Yeah.
I have to remind people that when PlayStations and Xboxes come out, that they go through different software changes, different hardware changes throughout the entire
Exactly.
production run. So sometimes the older games won't play correctly on the newer versions, and vice versa. So that argument is not always there.
Yeah.
It is stronger. It is a stronger argument to be made against PC gaming, but it is prevalent on all the platforms. So the
Right. Exactly.
now as far as any other games would you ever consider going like really like the other games, the older ones you were talking about, like the older ones, would you like to stream those? I mean that'd be kind of hard to do. I don't know how to I know how to record them. I don't know how to stream older games. Would you be
Yeah.
interested in doing that?
Definitely, like that's definitely a possibility. I just with like I said with PS4, I don't know how you would do that. With the equipment I have now, I probably couldn't, but I would definitely in like the future if I could somehow get a PC and get those games, I could definitely do that.
And that brings up another thing about it as well, as far as like the older games, the ones that you can't that people like, and you want to play it on a more modern platform. A lot of times, the games that you get for the consoles, you're not actually getting the actual game. You're getting a an emulated version of the game, and
Right.
that can be a problem because the emulation doesn't always play exactly the same as the original game. And
Right.
that really bugs me because I'll play a game that I really like and I'll find something and I'll play it online. It's like, oh, this isn't exactly how I played it when I was a kid. I want to play the original version, but this is just an emulator and they didn't do it the
Yeah.
exact. And I get kind of angry. It's like, well, I don't want to, and I stopped playing it because they didn't copy it over correctly. How do you feel
Yeah.
about that?
Yeah, I think that's very frustrating. Cuz I just want to play the game that I knew as a kid and like stuff like that. Like Pokemon and stuff like on Game Boy. I think you can even get an emulator for that on your phone, but it's not the same. Like it's just I feel like it should definitely be more accessible. Like I feel like there's no reason like for PS4 and like even PS5, like why wouldn't they have those games accessible? Like I don't like I said before, like I think it would just open up like way more business, and there's no reason with the technology they have like to play these great fantastic games and then also put in the old games in there.
Right.
I don't see why they can't have that software.
And even with gaming consoles, when it comes to the emulation, like they'll say they're backwards compatible. Like Xbox will brag about being backwards
Yeah.
compatible, but it's not really, because
No.
it's actually just emulating the older games.
Right.
So you're not really getting the actual game. You're getting something that's close to it. So
Yeah. It's
no,
weird.
no, we're getting close to an hour on this. I do want to discuss. Was there anything else as far as like what you're trying to achieve with your, with what you're doing, in the future? What are you trying to achieve with your life? What are your career goals? I guess I want to, because we're talking about gaming, but obviously, well, I'm sure my viewers would like to know more about you as well as a person.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get through school. I've taken some years off, so it's just been a slow process, which I've done kind of on purpose because I just want to take my time with it. Because I've changed my major like twice. Like, I don't know. I wanted to be a vet tech at one point, and then I wanted to be in psychology. So it's been a big change. Now I'm in graphic design and just working in video production, stuff like that, which is what I'm pretty passionate about. And so I'm happy where I am now in school, but just trying to figure out where I guess belong in like the career world or whatever. So yeah, Twitch has really like made me consider like doing this as a career if I can commit to it and just do stuff to get myself out there. And if that's going on YouTube or started putting my content on there. um I don't know, just kind of I'm kind of a easy going person, just kind of like going with the flow of life. That sounds really cheesy, but yeah, I just kind of going with the flow and finding things that I enjoy and just trying to be better at them and improve them. So I hope career wise, I hope I can just be a part of a community that, we share the same goals, share the same passions, and just move on. And if that's, in gaming or in the industry, business side, or anything like that, or just, in gaming news or anything like that, I would be happy to be a part of.
Oh, so like, would you like to actually do like you say, gaming news? Would you like to be like the person that reports on that?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. I do watch a couple of different YouTubers out there report on that, and they do a lot of well, the ones I watch are very popular. So,
Yeah.
as far as like gaming, I mean, do you have like a journalistic background, or is that something? How would you?
Yes, I do. I did journalism in school a lot. Like I did the paper, and I did write articles, and we had like they called it the Oracle magazine, so I would write articles in that. I just really like news in general, just like looking up, current events and stuff like that. And if I could turn that into like gaming, because I'm especially interested in the gaming industry and just game development and all that. So if I could definitely turn that into something I could do with that, that would be awesome.
No, no, there are people out there, and I don't know if you're like this, and if you are, there are people out there that make videos about gaming just to get attention. Like they'll be usually like
Yeah.
they call it like hate bait or what's the word I'm looking for? Like
Clickbait?
clickbait, but there's another word for it that's similar to, they call it hate something. Like they're luring people in just so people can hate on the topic itself. So
Really? That's crazy.
so like The Last of Us 2, to give an example, there were so many
Hmm.
people that did not like the game that they will so people out there would make videos just saying how much they hated the game just to lure in an audience that could rally together and say,
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
so
I've seen people do that.
yeah, they could rally together. They were basically all, yes, we hate it, I hate it too. It's like, it's like, would you be into that?
No, I definitely don't want to like start something like that that's like based around hating something. It's better to just keep your mouth shut, you know. You have your opinions, you can post them wherever, but I don't need to go that far with it.
There are people that I watch. I'm not going to name anyone specifically, but they, after a while, like they'll hate. It's usually like something. It doesn't have to be gaming. It could be gaming. It could be, pop culture, like
Yeah.
there's science fiction story, like the new science fiction stuff, Star Wars, Star Trek, things like that. And
Right.
they'll go on there to say how much they hate it over and over and over, and after a while I stop watching them because I'm like, don't you ever don't you have anything positive to say about anything?
Right.
And
Yeah.
it's just every single video is just how much they hate something, and then they assume everybody that's watching thinks that or are not basic, or they think it, everyone in general, I should say, thinks the way they do. They can't even comprehend the idea that people actually like something that they hate. And
Yeah.
it's like it's after a while it's like I'll go back to them once in a while and they're still doing the same thing. I'm like, it's just like it's unwatchable after a while. So
Right. Exactly.
I mean, I'll watch it for, like if something I agree with, well, okay, I don't like that, so I'll watch them. But then it's like, then they'll start talking. Maybe they'll bring up something I do like, and it's like they'll hate that. And I was like, oh, wait a minute, I actually like that. It's like, so
Yeah.
it's not what I really want to get into. So I assume,
Yeah.
yeah, that's not something you would want to have more of a constructive look at things.
Definitely.
There might be things that you dislike, but you're not going to sit there and just
Right.
browbeat it down like I hate this, and you'll look at it more constructively and and say why this is not necessarily something that you agree with or something you like, and you'll have a more positive
Yeah.
take on things in general overall is what I'm getting at.
Yes,
So
definitely. And like I'm guilty of it. Like I'll go, not look up things, but on YouTube I'll be like, "Oh, I see this like they call them like drama channels and stuff of like
mm,
people like I don't know, like James Charles, Shane Dawson and be like, "Oh, I hate them," and all this like
oh yeah.
conspiracy and stuff with them. And so I'll watch those. Like they're entertaining to watch, but after a while it's like, all right, can we like move on to something else? Like, but I get like those channels, that's what their community's based on. But I would never want to be someone based off like hating on another person, even though they're probably terrible people. But you know what I mean? It's like it gets old after a while. Like you're giving those people like too much attention.
Yes, yes. So I've been looking at the comments, no questions. So the no questions that were really relevant. So if anyone has any questions, this is something that we usually do with the guests I have on. I should have done
Hmm.
it at the beginning, and I apologize, but I'm going to do it anyway, even though we're
No
near the
worries.
end of this. What I like to do is I like to ask our community, I like to ask my viewers a question. So let me bring this up. Give me one
Okay.
second here. What we do, and it can be anything. It doesn't have to be about. Give me one second. About gaming. It could be anything. It could be. I could bring it up here. Give me. Almost got it here. Give me one second. It's
Hmm.
taking me a little bit longer than I thought it would be. Okay, here we go. Uh, Okay, so this is my community tab on my channel. So the questions that we asked, like the other week, I asked, the woman I had on asked, do you think a hot dog is a sandwich? So, and so far it was 3 days ago. So far it's like 4,500 votes, and 70% of the people said yes, they think it is a sandwich, which is
I would
surprising to
agree.
me.
I
Uh,
would agree.
oh, you agree? Really? Okay,
Yeah.
I was under
You
the
don't think
no.
it's a sandwich?
No, I don't. I think a sandwich would be more something that would be more flat, not round and shaped. So,
It can be flat.
But, yeah, but generally speaking, a hot dog is like it's in a small bun. It's not really laid out. It's not flat like a normal sandwich would be. So,
I get you. I get you.
I'm under you would be under the 70%. I would be under the 16% that says no. So,
That's
now
funny.
what question would you like to ask the viewers? Do you have one?
Um,
Like I said, it can be anything. It doesn't have to be serious or anything. Give you the example. The one before that was what is your favorite? Oh, it was supposed to be what is your favorite movie genre? I left the word favorite out of there, so it just says what is your movie genre. But and before that, it was actually a video game question. Selena was on with me, and she asked, "Do you like Soul Calibur, Mortal Kombat, or or is it Tekken?" And the thing is, I didn't know two of those games at all. She had to explain to me what they were. So uh, the um, the funny part was the my audience knew what they were, and I didn't know what they were. So
um, I guess I'll ask a controversial gaming question.
okay.
Um, I don't know. I'm trying to think
The,
how I would
the
question
one we
it.
asked 2 days ago was what
Oh
how would you
God.
rate President Biden's first day in office, our first 100 days in office, and 71% is pretty high.
Well, that's good,
I
I
was expecting it to
guess.
be. I thought it was going to be a lot lower than that, but it was
Yeah.
surprising. So. Any question would be fine. I mean, if you have something, it does not, like I said, it doesn't have to be gaming. Um, Trying to think of to help you out with this. Um, I, I don't, do you have an idea? Do you, if you,
Yeah, I was gonna ask a question about cyberpunk because that's really controversial.
okay, okay, yeah,
I guess, are you satisfied with the outcome, I guess, with the development of Cyberpunk 2077?
satisfied with the, I'm sorry, with the what? With
With the development of Cyberpunk.
development. Development, develop, am I spelling it right? Yeah. How's cyberpunk? SYBE, or is that two words or one? I don't remember.
Yeah, that just like that.
Okay, is it PUNK?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so we'll put yes. We can have multiple, we can have up to 5 responses on this.
Okay.
So, let's see, I guess, I'll put unsure maybe.
Mhm.
Can you think of another response?
Um.
Put a question mark on there.
Yes. No.
Did
Unsure.
I spell that correctly? D-E-V-L.
Yes.
Okay. When I was a teacher, I used to tell my students I need Microsoft Word for blackboards because I was afraid I was always going to misspell a word when I was writing it out on the blackboard.
Oh my god,
So,
I'd be terrified. I could never be a teacher. I think that's good, right?
okay. Okay. Let's see. What else did I put on there? Wait, I know. My usual response for one of these is, I don't care.
There we go.
Okay. So are you
Cool.
satisfied with the development of Cyberpunk? Is there any other aspect of it you want to emphasize? Did you want them to like maybe answer um, what do you, maybe it's something to the effect of what is your favorite part of the game or something? Would you like to?
Um. No, I think that's good.
That's good. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yes, no. Okay. There we go. So no, the reason we usually do this at the beginning is so that we can go back and see what the results were. Because usually by the end of the video, we usually get like at least 100 people. Sometimes
Yeah.
a little bit more than that. Sometimes with the 300 people that have voted on. So unfortunately, we won't be able to get that. I don't think anyone's responded that quickly.
Okay.
No, not yet. So, okay. So if we do another show together, which if you'd like to do that, we can come back and we can see the response on that and see what they
Yeah.
say. So, okay. So that was that was Olivia Seer, and I appreciate you being on.
Thank you
We
for having me.
we remove that, and yeah, as far as we're going to try to we're thinking about bringing you back on again, and we can maybe do some regular shows with you. And
Awesome.
thanks everybody for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.